People are in here now. Hey guys, how's it going? We got about 15-20 people in here, so I'm gonna give it a few more minutes before we get started. But I'm getting it set up on YouTube right now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A, and then we can start getting to your questions once we get that far. All right, cool. Looks like we're gonna have a full house today. Ava, so how's it going? David's here. CT, Alan, how's it going, guys? Yeah, I was gonna show Aaron the results for the back test. So I've only gone like halfway through February, but this is pretty much how far I've gone so far. And then I started implementing the news here because I noticed here in January there was a lot of losses. So I was like wondering why was there so many losses, but obviously it was because there was a ton of news during that time. Like there was an entry here at 8:40, but there was news from 8 to like noon. So that obviously we wouldn't have taken this trade. Similar with this right here, there was news early in the morning. So all of these losses could have been prevented. There was no news on this day, so this would have been a straight win. There was news at 6, so we probably wouldn't have made this trade. Similar with these right here. On the 13th, there was a win, but there was news at the same well, like right before it. So I didn't specify what type of news was presented, but I mean I'll probably go into that more into detail later because I'm gonna start adding other columns to here. But it looks pretty good. It looks like if we took all these trades where there was no news, so this would have been a win. Looks like this would have been a win, and this would have been the only loss for U.S. session for January. But also during January, there's a lot of stuff going on because it was the new year. But this is like one of the crazier things right here. This is Asia session. We don't even trade Asia session, but if you look at it here, there's a ton of trades that we could have won during January. So all of these right here, CT's asking how many of those hit TP before loss. It says right here. So if it hits TP, then stop loss. There's only a couple here where that happens. The US session, it's only happened once, twice. Yeah, I mean, there's another column here. I'm going to share this with you guys later. But these are crazy results right here, like especially for Asia session. We don't even trade this session, but if we did, there's a ton of wins here that we could have taken. There's 1,500 pips here, win, half profit. Even though these are wins, we have avoided them because of the news. Or actually, we might have taken these actually because the news was at 5:30. This entry was near 7. So it was like 2 hours later. We probably would have taken all these 3 trades right here. That would have been wins. We got a couple right here too. There was news at 2, I think. So we probably wouldn't have taken this. Probably wouldn't take this either. But there's a whole bunch here that we could have taken. This is what I'm trying to focus more on the Asia session so we can trade US and Asia. I also looked at Europe. Europe wasn't as accurate. I think for this, there needs to be a tweak. This is from midnight. So I think I might need to play around with it to figure out, what's the sweet spot. But technically, it looks like it could be fine. Like I mentioned earlier, January is kind of a bad week to really trade because it's a new year. The market just moved a little weird. But going into February, there's straight wins here in February for London session. Similar to right here, I haven't gotten the news for this side yet. I'm going to finish the month of February before I get to the news to confirm if that's why the losses happened. Same with here. I'm pretty sure there was news that happened here because, looking at previous data, all these losses were due to news that happened exactly at the same time. So I think, we already avoid news during the US 30, but, this might be a good indication to, focus more on the type of news that was released and, the time differential. There was news here at 6:30, so, this probably would have caused some manipulation in the market. And then this entry was at 7:30, an hour later. Kind of similar to what happened today. So, if you go to the news today, the news was at, 5:30 a.m. It was unusual because the unemployment claims were better than expected. They were predicting that the unemployment claims were going to be, where's the forecast? Actually, they weren't that good. So they were predicting 1,250, and it was actually 1,300. But the other news was actually good. So all of the actual news that should have affected the market, core retail sales went up 7%. They're predicting 5. So it went from -12 to positive 7.3. But, unfortunately, I can't really explain what happened in the market today. But this was our entry right here. you know, it looked good for the most part when we entered it. Honestly, I was thinking about probably moving my stop loss and profit once it came up, but it did come down pretty hard right here. So it looks like it started dropping at 750. You know, there was no news around that time. I'm not sure if like the news was just overhauled and you know, people didn't react to the news until later. It's kind of what it seems like, but I don't think there was any actual news that caused it to drop like that. This was 4 hours ago, so this wasn't when it happened, but there wasn't really anything that I spotted causing it to happen. Let's see. Harry's asking, when back testing, did you do it live or did you go back in time to take news into consideration? Planning to extend my analysis from January till date to include all sessions for down S&P. So for the no, like I couldn't do it live because we didn't have the strategy back in January. You know, what I did was I went back. Well, technically, this is what I did. Like, I use the rewind feature. So I'm not sure if you have the rewind feature, but you could just rewind it. Well, I mean, it wouldn't even really matter because when you're back testing, you're just trying to get data. But if you wanted to do it live, you could have just done this, similar to what I did here, and then you can just play it forward like that. It's the same thing as doing it live, but I mean, there's no point in doing that because you're just back testing data. You're not really trying to test your emotions because the requirements are always going to be the same. The only difference is news. So what I did here was I would back test the results. So I have all the, see if you can see these over here. So let me go back to earlier in the year. I only started from January. I started doing this last night, so I'm not really too deep into it. But I've gone pretty decent. So right here, I've marked all of the sessions. So you can see all the blue lines are heading up. These are all the sessions from US to Asia to London. And pretty much what I did was I just took the data. So I marked up all of the entries that were valid, and then I put them in the spreadsheet over here. And then once I did that, once I was done with the month of January, then I went to check the news. So to check the news, obviously you just go to forexfactory.com, you know, calendar, and then you just change the date to whatever date you were looking for. So I was only doing the month of January. So I went from January 1 to January 31st. And I pretty much just went down here to see when there was news. And if there was news conflicting with the trade, then I would mark it on the spreadsheet. So, I mean, you could do it that way too. It's not going to make any difference because, you know, there's nothing that's going to affect the trade. The trade's still going to be there regardless. But if there was a loss, like how I saw here, there were so many losses in January, you know, I kind of wanted to figure out why were there losses. There has to be like some type of reasoning behind it. And once I got to the news, that's where I realized that, you know, this is why the trade failed, because news was affecting the market. And this will give you a better understanding as, you know, how the trades play out and the reason for them hitting stop loss. Because, you know, if you just avoid them during news, you know, clearly the win percentage is super high. Like here's one win, here's one loss, here's one win right here. And that's two out of 3 wins. But I haven't even marked up these February trades. So I think once we go farther in, because, you know, January is not a good month to really get a good grasp on how a strategy works, because the market moves a little differently towards the end of the year, December, and then towards the beginning of the year, January. You know, in February, it started to kind of flatten out a little bit. But once I get more data, I'll be able to figure out, you know, what was wrong and what could be changed. I think for Europe session, we might just have to change the entry time, because like for the US session, I start my entries when the stock market opens at 6:30. I don't start trading when the US market officially opens. Like I think it's 5:30. And it seems like, you know, this has been working pretty well. I'll have to figure out, you know, what time does the Japan stock market opens, and similar with the Euro session, because maybe that will help a lot better. You know, maybe I'm entering a little too early, or if there's some type of difference that I could check from. Anonymous attendees asking, based on the analysis of Alan and Aryan, will you be taking the London Open? Probably not. I'm usually asleep during that time, so I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna stay up all 3 sessions just to trade in London. You know, someone else might be. I think I think Marcus is calling the London trades. I mean, they're not official calls, but he's been taking them himself, so he's familiar with it. But just looking at the data here, I don't have enough data to really make an effort to trade during London. It looks here during February, so I'll have to do some more testing and figure out, what's the sweet spot, because I can't really determine whether there's a sweet spot here at midnight or if it's going to be better if I trade at a later time. It's just going to have to take a lot of time in testing. That's pretty much how I figured out the US session and why I trade at 6:30 instead of 5:30. But no, I'm not going to be taking any London trades, probably not for a while. And if we do, it's probably going to be someone else that's going to be calling them, because I'm based in the US, so I'm usually asleep during that time. But okay, let's get to the webinar. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. Otherwise, we're just going to look over trades at 6 p.m. Let me see if there's news coming up. Today is Thursday, so the market's closing tomorrow. So we're not really going to take too many crazy risks today. Let's see, week of June. So there's no news. Looks like there's news at 3 a.m. for the Bank of Europe. Governor Bailey's going to speak. And then there's news tomorrow a.m. at 7 for the prelim UOM consumer sentiment. Also the G20 meeting is starting this weekend. So, the market might start moving a little weird tonight or tomorrow. So we'll see if there's any entries available. But if I don't see anything, we're not going to take that unnecessary risk, just to catch like some extra pips before the market closes, because that usually doesn't end out too well. Yeah, let me check what we got here. Vasil's asking, we looking for any US 30 entry in the current session? Probably not. It looks like, let's see. So the Asia session opened at 16. Yeah, so the Asia session just opened, not too long ago. It opened about an hour ago at 4. Well, not the Asia session, but the Japanese session. So if we were to take an entry, it'd be a sell entry, or if we get a valid sell, then it would be a sell entry. But we'd have to wait for it. So I think, I still have my alarms, my alert set up right here. So if I do see anything, I'll let you guys know, but I'm probably not going to take it myself. I'll call it as an unofficial call, but we'll see how that plays out. So the data I have it set to when the Japanese market opens at 4 p.m. my time, which is 1600 my time as well. So it depends on your time zone. I'm located in Pacific Daylight Savings Time, so that's 4 p.m. my time. Not sure what time it would be for you guys, but that's where I've been basing my back test for Asia session. And as you can see right here, the Asia session is probably the best session to trade US 30. It seems like there's less manipulation during this time because there's not really much news. And the markets they move a little smoother, so it's easier for us to get in and out of trades. So if I do see something, I'll call it, but I'm not sure after this move earlier, that it's kind of like I'm unsure what like how it's going to move, because this is what me and Aaron were looking at earlier. So if you look at the US 30 from earlier this week, it was trending pretty heavy throughout the entire week. You can see here, it's just moving sideways now. There's not really direction. There's not really crazy movement. So, the problem with that is you don't want to get caught in a trade. Like right here, it was in consolidation and it broke out. There's just random times in the market where it's just consolidating. Right here was a bullish move, consolidation, bullish, bearish, consolidation, strong bullish move, consolidation, bullish move, bearish, consolidation. And it's in consolidation here again. So the problem with this is, it could go either way. It could either go up or it could either go down. It looks like it's getting ready for another breakout. So if I do see something, I'll try to call it for you, Vasil. I know you're trying to pass your FTMO. So hopefully we see something that's good. See, if we get a strong bearish candle right here, we might see this as coming down. So let me zoom out. Because technically it's still in a downtrend. If you're just looking at the pivots, you can see it's still in a downtrend. It's trying to shift upwards. So it's kind of indecisive right now. Let me look at the trend meter. The trend meter is blue, so there's not really a established trend right now. But if I do draw some parallel lines, you can see there it's kind of been a downtrend. So I mean, we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, but I still consider it a risky trade, especially since we're getting closer to the end of the week. But I'll have to check it out. But yeah, let me see if there's any other questions. CL said, I know you probably get asked this a lot, but what are the best brokers in the USA? Which ones support US 30? For my research, I have only seen FX Choice, which also supports FX Choice. I didn't even know FX Choice has a US 30. Well, if I was going to make a recommendation, it's going to be a regulated broker. It's not going to be, you know, Hugo's or anything like that, even though, you know, I personally use them for my personal, but I wouldn't recommend it because I don't even trust them myself. But here's one that is regulated. It's called TradeStation. I think you need a big deposit to open an account with them though. I haven't used them yet because I'm like more focused on my FTMO right now. But if you want to trade, you know, regulated and you know your money will be safe, I think TradeStation would probably be the best one. I just haven't done enough research to determine, you know, how much it costs to trade with them. I don't know if anyone else here has used TradeStation before. This is where I was going to go if I didn't start FTMO, but you know, currently I'm just focused on FTMO right now. So, so there's really no need for me to move on to another platform currently. Turn this off. I think there was a minimum though. That was like one of the things that I mentioned to someone because someone was asking if there was a minimum. I'm not sure if there was a minimum or you needed to have a margin account, which is kind of risky if you know if you don't know what you're doing because you can literally lose a lot of money and owe that in debt if you don't know what you're doing. So I mean, unless you know what you're doing, I wouldn't recommend using a broker like this because you can literally blow your entire account. But I'm not sure how they. Yeah, you just check out this website, CL, if you want to see, you know, get more information on a regulated broker that has US 30. There's also AMP, but I haven't used them either. So if I was to recommend one, it would be either this or AMP. So just check out TradeStation, see how much it costs to trade with them. Future margin rates. So like right here, you would be trading, I guess US 30. So it'd be the Dow Jones right here, the mini, $5. It says, you know, initial margin's 11,000, maintenance margin is 10,000. So you probably need 25% of that. You'll need like a couple thousand to open an account with them and trade. But I know they provide margin if you qualify. So obviously if you're gonna trade regulated, you know, obviously you're gonna need more money. But yeah, I haven't looked at FX charts. Let me look them up real quick. Because I know someone in the group uses FX Choice, but I haven't looked at them myself. Vasil said IC Market is cool too. I don't know if you guys, yeah, unfortunately IC Market doesn't accept US clients, so I wanted to use them as well, but they don't, unfortunately. My FX Choice. So this is my FX Choice. I've never used them before, so I'm not familiar. Are these guys regulated? I don't even know if they're regulated. Because if they're not regulated, then you might as well go with Hugo's or something. Because David said, I've been using a regulated broker from Australia who accepts US clients, no problems at all, and withdrawals easy. Dave, which broker is that? Is that Eagle FX or something? I can look them up too. Ingot? That's a weird name. Yeah, we'll take a look at that, but I don't know if this is regulated. Let's see. Oh, Rory said FX Choice is not regulated. So I wouldn't even recommend this. You might as well go with Hugo's Way or something. So I've never used it, so I can't recommend FX Choice. But I mean, CL, if you've been using it for a while and you're doing fine with them, then I think that you'd be okay with them. Anonymous is asking, Shawn, do you think IC Markets is a good choice? Personally, I haven't used IC Markets because it's not available to US clients. But from what I heard from other people in the group, everyone has good things to say about IC Markets. So I don't see any problem with them. But me personally, I've never used them before, so I can't really speak from personal experience if they're regulated or not. I mean, no, they are regulated, but I can't say if they're a good broker or not. But you can ask other people in the group. There's a lot of people there that have used them before. So this is INGOT. Let's see. Rory said 1 point equals 10 cents for US 30 on FX Choice. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's kind of similar to the Hugo's Way valuation as well. Yeah, so David said he uses INGOT. I've never heard of them. I'm not familiar with them, but David said he hasn't had issues with them. So if you want to check them out too, that'd be good. But I know if you want to use US regulated brokers, you can also use TD Ameritrade, which is what I've used previously, but they cost a lot to use too, and they're a little complicated if they're not something you've used before. Like their platform is super complicated, but it was what I started trading with, so I'm really familiar with them. But it did take me like a year to figure everything out. INGOT. Yeah, so it looks like INGOT is regulated by SFGFSA. I'm assuming that's the regulation in Australia. I'm not familiar with it, but yeah, if you want to check this out, David recommends it. So there's another option there. Rory said everyone hates COT, but I use it and haven't had any issues. Hopefully I won't. Yeah, I mean it's pretty a mix. It's a mixed bag for COT. I haven't used it myself because I've only heard bad things, so I didn't want to ever risk it. But if you can make it work, then I think it should be fine. But yeah, there goes a couple choices for you. So you can check out INGOT, you can check out TradeStation, you can check out TD Ameritrade. There's a good handful of other brokers you can check out. But the only one that I would recommend would be something that's US regulated. So that'd be TradeStation or TD Ameritrade. But yeah, so if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, so I don't really have anything else to respond to. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking for trades for the 6 p.m. candle. Right here for OddCAD, it looks like there would be an entry right here. If this closes above the zone right here, there's no resistance that's anywhere to be found. Nothing there on the 8-hour, nothing there on the daily. So if you guys don't see resistance on the current time frame that you're looking at, like, so see I'm trading on the 4-hour, you can go on the higher time frames to see if you find something. Like obviously there's nothing here. You can go to the 8-hour, nothing there. You go to the daily or weekly. So this is the next level. Because there was nothing on the daily, see there's nothing there, we go to the weekly just to get a longer range to see where the next resistance is. So what I do is I usually just mark it up like this, and then I go back to the time frame that I'm trading on, and there you go, I have resistance right there. So if we were to take this trade, if we want to enter here, we have to watch out for this area, because the thing is, once price reaches the zone up here, odds are it's probably going to reject off. So as it gets close to this area, you probably want to eliminate your risk and move your stop loss close to where price is. Just in case it does reverse like it would right here, you would catch it with maximum profit. But we'll come back to that. I have a mark already, so it looks like I already looked at this earlier. This is something that I do have my eye on. But let's see what else we got here. Odd CHF. There's nothing here. You can see it's stuck in the zone. Generally, when it's stuck in the zone, it's just going to keep bouncing around within the zone until it breaks out. So until it breaks out in either direction up or down, we pretty much don't pay any attention to it because we don't want to trade within the zone. You can see right here, whenever it's inside a zone, it usually consolidates before breaking out in either direction. So it's, if you take a guess here and you try to take a sell and it ends up shooting up, you take a loss. Similar with right here, if you try to take a buy while it's in here and it shoots down, you have taken a loss. And that's why you want to trade outside of the zones. You can see right here, when price is within the zones, it pretty much consolidates within. But once it breaks outside, it shoots straight up. So this is, this would be a good entry here. As it broke above here, you could take a buy, and then you could like exit somewhere around here. Again, right here, when it broke out right here, you could ride it up and then exit before it gets to the next resistance point. So take a look at this later. Let's see, Bill Morris is asking, what do you think of Euro NZD? Buy when it breaks above 1.74333 to target 1.77000. Let me pull that up real quick. So we're actually in EN right now. I'm not sure if you were in that trade from, I think, 2 days ago. But yeah, this trade has been messing around like all week. So let me see how far this is right here. Draw another zone over here. So if I take this off, make things a little easier to look at. So, clearly we're still in an uptrend right here. It's pretty much rejecting off these. If I hide this, it's pretty much rejecting off of the K2 pivots right here. So put this back on. This is with the zones, and this is, if I take out the pivots, I only have the pivots here to show us where the overall trend is. You can see right here that, it's clearly still in an uptrend. You can see right there, it's just pretty much rejecting off the pivots and going back upwards. And that's why I'm not too worried about this trade. But if I take the pivots off, you can see here that, price moves within the zone. Price came down, rejected off the zone. It broke the zone right here, retested, shot up, came down, rejected off the zone, rejected off this zone area. And it pretty much just bounces between zones. So let's see. Bill is asking about the specific price point. Let me mark it up on the chart. Just color it black so it's easier to see. So his entry point is going to be 1.74333. So he's thinking about buying above this point. So Bill's asking, what do you think about when it breaks above? So I would wait for it to break above a little higher. I mean, honestly, I think it's still going to continue up. So regardless as to whether you buy here at your price point, or if you buy when it breaks above the zone, then I think you should still be fine. Because what I'm anticipating here is that it's going to continue up. Because if you add the pivots to the mix, there's a ton of little areas here where price is likely to reject from. Price can reject from the first pivot. It looks like it broke below, but we have to see how this closes. So the thing is, if it closes with a wick down here, it's going to be a strong rejection off pivot zones. So if we see that, we'll probably see it shoot on upwards. Similar to right here, if price comes even farther down here, there's a ton of line. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like 6 lines of defense here. It would be pivot 1, pivot 2, this support right here, pivot 3, and pivot 4. So there's so many areas where price is likely to reject from. And you can compare this to what's happened here in the past. You can see our price came down, and every time it came up, it rejected off the pivot, and it came down even further. Came up, rejected, and until you can see here that there's multiple lines of defense. If it makes it past the pivots, it'll reject off this, one of the zones here. So it rejected off the pivot, broke the pivot, rejected off the zone right here, came back down, and it just kept making its rejections along the way. That's kind of similar to what I see happening here. You can see here it's already rejected off the zone, it's rejected off the pivot, rejected off the pivot again here, shot back up, and then it came back down again for another test. So Bill is thinking about entering above this zone right here. I think this should be an okay spot. I think if you waited until it broke above this zone right here, which is 1.7446, this would probably be a stronger zone for it to break, because you can see here, whenever price broke this zone, like it did right here, it shot straight up. Similar to right here, price broke the zone right here, and then it shot up a little further. Again, right here. So even if I line this up on this side, once price broke the zone right here, it shot straight up. So this is actually a pretty strong zone right here. So if price ever breaks above it again, you know, odds are it's probably going to shoot up even further. And his target is 1.77000. Oh, that's a big target. So Bill's trying to catch this like way up there. Let me see. Price range. So Bill's entry is right here. He's trying to catch this up to 1.7700. That's a big move. That's a 268.1 pips. It's very possible, but you know, just the way that the market's been moving lately, you know, market's just been really slow. So I'm not sure if it'll make it that. I mean, it'll probably make it that far eventually if you're swing trading it. You know, probably by next week, the week after. But I'm not so sure if it'll happen right away. But it does look like a good trade. I mean, this could happen because I don't know if you guys are familiar with the odd CHF trade that we had. We literally held this trade from way over here, and then we literally held it for an entire month. And then it shot up right here and it hit both of our TPs. So we had full TP for 2 of our positions for odd CHF. And that's probably the same situation that might happen here for Euro NZD. You know, the problem with the market right now is that it's like consolidating, it's ranging. So pretty much what could happen here is, we'll just color this a different color. You know, we could get a nice range within this area for like a long time until they decide to shoot in a direction. Because it looks like it's just ranging between these two zones right here. So this zone right here and this zone down here, it's pretty much just bouncing around. And it can literally bounce around for a long time. You can push up, bounce off there, push down, bounce off there, shoot up, bounce up there, until it decides to, you know, determine a direction. It can either shoot up really high or drop down. So, you know, with COVID going on, there's a lot of different things that can affect the market, you know, depending on how everyone reacts to all the COVID news that comes out. I'm not sure how COVID is doing in New Zealand. I know in Australia, they shut everything down again. So that's why the Australian pairs, they spiked for a bit. Let me pull one up. So actually not that one. So they spiked over here last month, and then they just went into consolidation because this is pretty much, you know, the whole country region is like shut down for the most part. So it's, you know, it's moving indecisively until they figure out, you know, what's going to happen. Similar with Euro NZD, I do see it coming up. I do have a bullish bias, especially because we have an active position with it. But yeah, that move up there that you're looking for is a pretty big move. I think it should hit eventually, but you have a lot of options here. Like you can either enter at your point, or you can wait for it to break the zone. But I think overall it should continue up because you can see down here, this is a very strong support. So even if it does come down, this is a super strong support that hasn't been able to be broken. And then there's a strong bullish move here, and it looks like it retraced down a little bit, and then it can shoot back up. Yeah, Bill said Elliott wave has this as a wave 5. Oh, nice. Yeah. Hey, Bill. So which time frame are you looking at for the Elliott wave? I'm assuming a shorter time frame, right? So Elliott wave right here, 1, possibly 1. You just use the thing here. I'm not good at Elliott wave, but it's a theory that I do like to follow. So let me see if I can find the. Oh, it's right here. Elliott wave. Impulse. So I'm assuming it started down here for you. 1, 2. So maybe 1, 2, 3. Oh, I know. Oh, I'm assuming it started from right here. If this was the 1 hour. So if you started the Elliott wave from here, it'd be 1, 2. Oh yeah, no, you're right. That's just a big move though. Your endpoint was way over here. That's a huge that's a huge number 5. Yeah, there's 17. It's a big impulse move. Oh yeah, Bill. Yeah, so you sent me this on Sunday, your charts. And yeah, our analysis lined up. That's why we're both in a bullish bias. But yeah, that's a big move up there. I mean, I can see it happening, but it's It's got a long way to go. So let me zoom out of this. Yeah, no, it looks good. Hopefully it plays out because we're still in the buy too. So we're on the same team right now. We're both anticipating it to come up. I'm hoping it just rejects off this point right here. So with the pivots, you know, if it does have a nice bottom wick right here, I could definitely see it shooting up pretty strongly. You can see right here, when it had a strong wick right here, it's kind of similar because right here it was in a downtrend, and then we had an opposite candle right here, a bullish candle with a strong wick, and then it ended up shooting down really strong. So that's what I'm anticipating right here. So if we have this right here, where it comes down, came up, came down, and if we have a strong bottom wick right here, even if it's a red bearish candle, it's going to show, you know, it's that the bears are losing their momentum. Then I can anticipate it to shoot up pretty strong. So and we still have about 20, a little over 20 minutes on this candle. So, you know, a lot of things can happen within those 20 minutes. So I'll probably check back on this as we get farther along with this candle, and then we'll see how it plays out. But hopefully we'll see what happens in a few minutes. Bill said might help some of the FTMO traders. Yeah, no, it might help me too. I might just put in a standard lot, let it run. But we'll see how it plays out. Let's see. I'm gonna keep going down. Vasila's asking, are you still using Higo's way? You have different K2 pivot input. Vasila, so I still use Higo's way for my personal. I don't really trade that one too much though. I just trade that with like a minimal lot size, like a 0.01, so like a 0.03. And I pretty much just take the trade and I let it run because what I do is I'm just copying the trades from my FTMO account. My FTMO account is my master account, and then I have other accounts that mirror my moves. But for my K2 pivots, I have the original settings. I know we changed the level 4, but it doesn't make a huge difference. It's just that, you know, it's the last line of defense. If you want to change that to, I forgot what CT had it at, maybe 88 or 85, something like that. It just makes it smoother, but it's not 100% necessary. So I just put it back to the defaults. I mean, you can see here, it doesn't really move that much. So if I'll just mark this right there, and I'll change it to 88. I think that's what the number was. And it just moves a little off. It doesn't make a huge difference. So that's why I just leave it at where it's at. I mean, it's not gonna be a game changer because the thing is we're not really focusing on the pivots for the entry. CT said EU has a clear rise. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll pull that up right now too on my own chart. So yeah, it was weird because, you know, I was talking about this with Aaron. Like all the Euro pairs were super strong. They were very bullish. That's why we entered this trade because, you know, it all indicated that the Euro pairs were going to keep pushing up. So that's why we have like 4 Euro trades open right now. You know, Euro GBP, it actually hit CP1 already, so I'm actually out of this trade. I don't know if anyone's still in this trade, but I think it's still going to continue up. You know, if you look at all the pairs here, they're all still kind of trying to push up. Same with our EG right here. It's in profit again. With this, actually hit CP1 as well, but it's continuing back up. So I'm out of this trade, but technically it's still active if you guys have it. Same with our EN over here. But, you know, some of them were hit harder than the others. Like EN was hit hard. Like it literally, we entered and then it dropped down, and then it created a resistance up here. So I'm hoping for recovery on this pair, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. And then here's our other Euro at the Euro USD. So it seems like EN and EU had like the biggest hit. Literally, we entered right here, and it was so close to TP1 right here, and then it rejected down. But it's having some strong rejections off these points, and then CT showed me his markup right here too. He has a pretty strong support right here, where you know where price currently is. So looking at that and comparing it to ours, it kind of lines up with ours as well. So I'm hoping that this shoots on up. But we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. I think if this closes above this point right here, And if we get a buy signal like we did right here, so this is how the zone trading strategy works. Pretty much, we want to wait for a bullish momentum right here for confirmation, and then once it breaks above a zone, then we can take an entry. So that's pretty much what I'm waiting for right here. I'm waiting for a bullish candle, and then if it closes above here, then I could anticipate this to shoot on further up. So I'm not too worried about EN and EU. We'll just wait to see how it plays out. CT's analysis kind of lines up with ours too, where he shows he has a support here, where there was a nice rejection. So I think it should be good. I think we should give it some time. Let's see what else we got here. Vasile said, I used to see people using currency strength meter. Have you used it before? So personally, I don't really use that. I mean, I use it sometimes, but I don't think it's very accurate because it could change at any point. So if I put in Euro USD here, I used to look at this and base the strength of the pair off this, but there was a lot of times where it just didn't play out like it said it would. So here's the strength meter here. It's a strong buy on the daily. So we're trading on the 4-hour. It's strong buy all around. So it does have its benefits, but I wouldn't base this base your trades on this solely, because if you go to other time frames, it's a huge difference. Like some of them are strong buys on the long term, but if you go to like the 1-hour, it's just straight. Like this was neutral, now it's at sell, but this is still a buy. So I mean, this would be a good extra confirmation, but I wouldn't base it off this solely. I would base it off the chart first, and then if you want like extra confirmation, then yeah, go ahead and look at it. But I don't really use it anymore. But if you guys want to use this, you can just go to the website, tradingview.com, and then you can type in whatever ticker you want here. So if you want to look at your USD, you just type in your USD. I usually use forex.com data. It seems like the most accurate in my opinion. Or if you want to look at something else like US 30, it's right here as well. You just click on that, and then it'll have technicals right here. And then the cool thing about this is that it shows you all of the moving averages that they use. And they have pivot points here too if you want to use their pivots. And this will give you a good understanding as to how it's moving technical wise. But I'm sure you guys are familiar with like how the markets are moving during COVID. Sometimes technicals and fundamentals go out the window because if anything happens in the news, it'll affect the market pretty heavily depending on what it's based on. So this is a good tool if you guys want to see what the overall direction is for like any pair. Let's see if there's any other questions here. Oh yeah, Vasile showed me this before too. He uses these charts. This is okay, but the reason I don't like this is because it doesn't show you where the strength's coming from. It just shows you these colors, but it doesn't really give you a good understanding as to what you're looking at, because this can mean anything. The thing that I like about the trading view one is that it gives you actual details as to what's going on. So obviously, if the lower moving averages are buys, that's a short-term move. But if they match with the higher-term moves, obviously it's going to be a lot stronger compared to just looking at these bars right here. And for this, these are just specific pairs. But if you're on the trading view one, it gives you this is specific currencies. But if you're looking at the trading view one, it gives you the actual pairs. So depending on what you're trading, you can just type it in, and then you can get specific details. And then on top of that, you can see the news as well. So if you where's it at? There's a section here, I think. Oh yeah, right here. So if you want to compare, the technicals with the news, they have news here as well. So there's more details here and things to help you have a better understanding in analyzing the pair that you're following. Let's see what else we got here. CT said, I'm waiting for the green signal and I'm in. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was looking for too. Once this breaks above, if you get a green signal right there, I mean, it seems like a great entry. Kevin's asking, can you review Audusd? Hey Kevin, do you mind putting that, or actually it's fine. we just have one question in the Q&A. So I'm gonna answer Jesus's question first. He wants us to look at Euro Odd, and then after that, I'll look at Odd USD for you, Kevin. So I'll go to Euro Odd real quick. EA. All right, so here is EA. Let me see if there's any other zones that are nearby. Looks like there's another one right here. So it's got that marked up. All right, cool. So I'll take this off the chart. So right here we have a sell bias, but the thing is, this came into the support zone right here, and then it rejected off. Like I mentioned earlier, price generally moves from zone to zone. So as you can see right here, price came from this zone, rejected, came up here. It's not as clear on here because we don't have any zones drawn from this time from June 1st. But just looking at this area right here, price pretty much consolidates, broke out to this zone, rejected, broke out to this zone, rejected, broke up to this zone, rejected, came down, and it pretty much just moves from zone to zone. So right here, we have a sell bias because we have a sell momentum signal right there, but I wouldn't take this trade until price was to close below this zone right here, because generally when it closes below a zone like this, like it did right here, you can see it comes down and tests the next zone down here. Right here, I would have to wait for this to come down, because what could happen here is, although it's had a sell signal, if we get a buy signal right here in the middle, like we did right here, price can come up and test this zone or this zone up here. So right now it's kind of in a consolidation area, because you can see it's stuck within these zones right here. Personally, I wouldn't take a trade until, hey, Aaron, do we have an active trade for EA? I still have a bunch of like alerts open right here.
I mean, if we do it, maybe from like last week.
Yeah, because I have all these alerts right here, but they haven't been triggered yet.
I
Like we
think it's
haven't
probably
hit
a
the spot.
sell. Yeah, we had a sell.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'll have to. Oh, I think it was this one right here, right? So I think we entered this trade right here, and it didn't get to TP because we have two TPs right here. It looks like we had two positions because I have one alert for full TP,
Mm-hmm.
and then for number 2 right here. So it looks like we had two positions that haven't hit yet. But they also haven't hit stop loss because they've literally been, when we enter this trade, around July 1st, I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago, it was literally in consolidation right here, just bouncing around. Similar with right here, it's in the same situation, just in a bigger open field. So right here, price came from up here, rejected off here. It's probably gonna come up, reject again right here, and just bounce around through this area. So unless you're scalping, let me see if there's any entries for. See, it's still in a bullish. I mean, it's not a strong trend, but it's definitely in an uptrend right here. So comparing this to the other euro pairs that we're trading, they're all sort of in an uptrend right now. Not a strong uptrend, but sort of a decent uptrend. So if I look at these, see everything is above the pivot. So if you're familiar with how the pivots work, generally when the price is above the pivots and the pivots are spread out like they are right here and they're all angling in the same direction, that usually indicates that price is trending upwards. In the opposite direction right here, if price is below the pivots and the pivots are angling down and they're all spread out like they are right here, you can see that price is trending down. So if you look at all the EU pairs, they're all in an uptrend. So this is why I'm anticipating them to shoot on upwards. You can literally go to any euro pair and they're all angling up. Literally all of them. EA, EC, EC, EG, EJ, EN, EU. They're all angling up. So for euro odd, even though we have a sell bias right here, I would wait for a buy signal. So if we get a buy signal somewhere around this area, you can anticipate it to shoot on upwards. So I'm not sure if you're in this trade right now, Jesus, but if you are, I would be looking for a buy instead of a sell. But you'd have to wait for some extra confirmation before you take this trade, because there's just too much uncertainty. Oh, nice. Yeah, Jesus is in for a buy. Yes, I think you're fine. There's a lot of space. Let's see, from right here until the next zone, it's about 40 pips. I'm not sure where your TP is, but once price gets near this area, I'd probably move your stop loss and profit like somewhere below it, in case it reaches that this resistance point. and then rejects off, so that in that situation you could lock in some profit right here, because that's like 40 pips right there. That's not bad. Or it could even push up here. So if it keeps pushing up to this zone right here, it might reject off it because it looks like a pretty strong resistance. It's tested it a lot of times down here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 times right here. So like a quadruple top. But yeah, I think you should be fine. Since all euro pairs are angling upwards and they all show a bullish bias, then I think you should be good for a buy. You just gotta hang tight because I don't think it's really gonna move very much until, let's see. We are in the Australian market, but during Asia session it just moves really slow. You probably would have to wait until London, and then if you see a nice rejection off this point, you could probably see it shoot up. So yeah, if you're still in that trade, just hang on tight. Hopefully it plays out because all of our trades are bullish for euro as well. All right, so Kevin, I'm gonna look at the pairs real quick to see if there's any entries for us, and then I'll look over AUD/USD. So let's see, AUD CAD. There might be an entry here, like I mentioned earlier. If it breaks above this this resistance right here, I anticipate it to shoot upwards. So we've got about 8 minutes. I'll take a look again in a few minutes to see if there's an entry there. I do have it marked, so I'm ready to analyze it if there's an entry. And it's in a strong uptrend right here. AUD CHF. All of our AUD CHF pairs hit TP already, thankfully, because we held this trade for over a month, so good thing that hit. AUD JPY, we do have a buy signal right here, but I would have to wait for it to close above this zone for us to take it. Yeah, it looks like the signal disappeared, so we probably just leave that alone for now. AUD NZD. This is a false buy signal, so I'm not sure if we're gonna get a sell here, but it's still in an uptrend. But there's no real catalyst right now to enter this trade, so I'm just gonna leave this alone as well. If we do get a sell signal, then it would be good, and I'd probably anticipate it to come downwards and maybe shift from the trend. But until we get that, there's no entry for AUD NZD. AUD USD. Actually, I'll analyze it right now, Kevin, since I already have it open. So we're actually in this position for a buy. Like I mentioned earlier, all of the odd pairs are in a bullish bias. You can see they're above the pivots, and they're all angling upwards. So for AUD USD, we're still in this trade. This is still active from yesterday, actually, on the 15th. So we called this yesterday morning. It looks like there's news coming out, so we have to be careful. It's at 2 a.m. Actually, 2 a.m. That's weird. Oh, it probably happens around 5:30, because this candle closes at 6. So yeah, 5:36. That's when the U.S. news is happening. We have 12 hours, so I think it should be good. Hopefully, I think it'll actually help us because this news is for the building permits number, and I think on CNBC it showed something about it being good data, and there was a lot of permits being pulled. So that'd be good data for the U.S., which would not be good for us because this is AUD USD. And if the US dollar is stronger, it's going to come down. But the thing is, we still have 12 hours for that to happen. Currently, it's still in a bullish bias since it's above the pivots. So what I'm anticipating is similar to what I was looking at with Euro NZD. I'm waiting for it to reject off. So it actually already rejected off right here. You can see the nice rejection off the lower pivots, the last line of defense down here. So you can see right here that signal keeps appearing. It's like a false sell signal. And the reason why it's false is because it's a bullish candle, but see like that right there. See that? It's a sell signal, but with a bullish candle. So you can see right here, when that happened right here, it ended up shooting upwards. And that's kind of what I'm anticipating to happen here too, because the odd pairs have a bullish bias. So if we have that signal close within the next 5 minutes, then I'm anticipating it to reject off and gain momentum to shoot on upwards, which is what I'm hoping for because we still have this trade active right now. This is similar to what happened with our other euro pairs. It was weird because all of the Australian pairs were in a bullish bias. That's why we took the buy when it closed up here, but it ended up pushing up really close to our TP right here for 18 pips, but then it just reversed for whatever reason. I think there was odd news during the week or something that happened that caused it to drop. So I think it's going to be pushing towards the correction phase. So I'm not sure if you have this for a buy or a sell, Kevin, but if this closes like how it looks like right here, I anticipate this to happen again. So I'm anticipating it to shoot on upwards. So hopefully that'll happen because we still have this trade active. Hopefully we can hit TP1 before the weekend because I don't like holding trades over the weekend unless I absolutely need to. So we could hang on to this for now, but I do see it shooting on upwards eventually. We have about 4 minutes left in this candle, about 3 minutes and 22 seconds. So I'll check this in about an hour, and then hopefully we get some type of bullish movement coming from here. So we got Aaron right here with his Aaron, why does your charts look like this?
Start.
Oh man, so he's looking at NC. So I'll go over to NC real quick. All right, here I'm just gonna zoom down the pairs real quick just to see if there's anything. Aaron, what do you think about CAD CHF?
Hold on 1 second.
It's in a bullish bias too, I think. Sorta. It's too close to the support though. So it's only 10 pips away from the support. This is I wouldn't take this trade
That's
because
way
the
too
thing is
close.
the spread is 4 pips. So even if you were to take the trade, you'd be 4 pips in the negative. So it gives you no space for you to catch any profit before having to possibly get out. Because it's so close to the support, it might come down and then it might reject off the support and then shoot on upwards. And that's why we wouldn't take this trade. Let me see what else we got here. So CAD JPY. This would actually be a decent sell. I don't know how. Let's see. Now, what do you think about this for a late entry?
For sell stop. Let's see.
Let's see how far is it? It's about 35 pips. Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. For sell stop.
Yeah, it looks
Not too bad.
Yeah, it looks all right because it's actually I don't really like pairs that are consolidating. I would like to take it if it was trending down, but it's literally in consolidation right now. You guys can see right here, it just pretty much bounces from zone to zone. Came down, came up, pretty much just rejecting within the zone. So between these two zones right here, so even if we were to enter this trade, we'd probably be stuck in this trade for a while. So I'll mark it, but I'm gonna hold off on it. All right, we got 2 minutes, guys. Let me check this real quick. Came up, came down, came up. Right here for CAD actually I'm gonna mark this up. I'm anticipating there to be a sell signal there. So right here, you can see price is within the zone with a buy signal, but it's going against the trend because it's below the pivot. So I'm anticipating right here, if this closes as a bearish candle or if it closes with a nice wick, I'm anticipating the next candle to be a sell signal. And then if it closes below here, then I would take a sell. Because you guys can see up here, same situation. Right here, it was a sell signal that happened within the zone. But once it closed below, it came shooting straight down. So we could have locked in about like 70 pips off this trade. Same thing with right here. See price with a sell signal right here. Once it closed below the zone, it dropped for a good 100 pips. So similar situation here. If I see this close below the zone right here, I'm anticipating it to drop to the next zone for a good 50 pips. So I'm going to keep an eye on these two, CAD JPY, CHF JPY. They could both be some nice sells. Euro Aud, we covered this earlier. There's no entry, but I'm anticipating a bullish move because all of the Euro pairs are bullish for the most part. Euro CAD, no entry here. There would have been an entry right here, but like I mentioned, so once price goes below zone, it'll test the next zone like it did right here. But we didn't call this because it's so close to it. It's not worth our trade. We got to take this for 12 pips. The spread's 3.6. So you're going to have to pay spread both ways to get in and out. This is in a zone, EG. Let's see. So here's your sell signal, Vasile, if you're still looking at this. I wait for it to close first. So we have about 9 minutes on this candle. I'll call that as an unofficial if it ends up closing. Your JPY, all the Euro pairs are just pretty much stuck right now. So we're not taking any of those. GA right here. This is one of the trades that I sent Aaron earlier, but it's kind of similar to the other pairs that we saw, the other AUD pairs. It's pretty much in consolidation, so I wouldn't take that right now. GCAD, we do have a buy signal right here, but it looks like it's too close to this resistance. Let's see. Yeah, it's only 13 pips. Spread is 6.5. So literally, if you take this trade, you're literally you might not even be able to break even because you got to pay 6 pips to get in, and then you got to pay the spread for 6 pips to get out. So by the time you get to to resistance, you're gonna be stuck with no pips and possibly a loss. So we're not gonna take that trade. Let's see, GC. This is one that I showed Aaron too. It's like a late entry. Aaron, what do you think about GC?
GC, it was pretty good for a buy.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I'm worried about is that it's consolidation. I would hate,
As are
yeah,
consolidating, but
probably hold off on that. It looks like all the GBP pairs are consolidating. They're not really moving. If I zoom out, yes, it's in consolidation. Because you compare this to previous moves right here. It's a nice bullish move, bearish move, and then continued bearish move, and then continued bearish move right here. And then it just doesn't really move too much. It's GJ. Let's see how much it's moving. It's moved about 40 pips, and like, I mean, it's moved decently, but not enough for us to really make an entry. And it looks like it's in a short-term downtrend right here, or it was attempting to. So it looks like it was trying to shift the trend right here because it was in an uptrend, and it tried to shift the trend, rejected off it, again right here, rejected off it, again right here, rejected off it. So the thing is, there's a lot of uncertainty here as to how price is going to move. So that's probably something that I wouldn't take. But if you marked it up yourself, it looks like it's in a a short-term downtrend right here, trying to break the overall trend. Because you can see right here from the pivots, it's in a strong downtrend, and then it's an uptrend, and then it looks like it's trying to come back down. So if you look at it from a bigger picture, it looks like, if you counted this as a full move right here, this would be swing down. So this would be the high, the lower high. I mean, so this is the high, the lower low, the lower high, and then probably anticipated to come out further. But who knows? I mean, price is just moving weird. So the thing is, we can't really anticipate. And we could anticipate, but it's going to be hard for us to really predict as to the direction of price, especially since it's kind of moving sideways right here. It's not really moving directional within this area. It's just sideways. And it's kind of hard for people to really to spot this without looking at it from that direction, because it kind of looks like it's in a downtrend, but then it looks like it's reversing up. But then if you look at it from from a bird's eye view, you can see it's just moving sideways. It's not really moving very much. TT said I would wait for a buy on the 10 in hourly direction. Yeah, I would. Same here. There's not really a. Let me see. So CT said on the 1 hour. Oh, US 30. I don't know. This might hit. We got 5 minutes. So let me zoom through the rest of the pairs real quick. Yeah, guys, I don't really see anything worth taking right now. Looking at the GBP pairs, they're all consolidating. You can see here GN's consolidating, GJ's consolidating, GC's kind of moving. But yeah, these here, the main pairs that we trade, they're not really moving very much. Even with GU, it's kind of, I mean, this would have been a decent sell right here. I forgot why we didn't take it, but it did swing up right here. But it's pretty much just bouncing from zone to zone. So right here, it came up from this zone, came down, rejected off this zone, came up, rejected off this zone, and then it rejected off again right here. So it might head on upwards, similar to what we were saying with the other GBP pairs. NZD CAD real quick. Aaron, what do you think about NZD CAD? Is this the one you sent me?
yeah. But shit, it had Hold on, 1 second, 1 second.
Stop loss too wide. You got the 42.
Yeah, your computer have like a little lag to it, but yeah, it was NZD cap, but it looked like it retraced a little bit, but it does look pretty good.
Yeah, NZD-CAD. It looks like it pulled back a little bit, but
Oh, what do you think about it?
I don't know. Is there news today?
Honestly, I didn't even check.
No, nothing tonight. I mean, there's news tomorrow. I don't know. It's weird. I'm gonna just take these off the market because we're not taking these trades. I just want to keep the ones in market that we're actually thinking about maybe taking. Nothing there. These two are okay. This thing closed above, so close down. All right, so let me just keep scrolling through these real quick. We're like about 7 minutes late from the calls, but NJ right here, it's clearly in a consolidation, so we're not going to take this trade. You know, the last thing you want is take a trade and then it ends up shooting in the opposite direction. Because generally when it's in consolidation, it's just charging for a breakout. You know, it's just normally how the market moves until there's some sort of catalyst pushing the market. So right here, same situation, it's moving sideways. So it can either, if it breaks above here, it can shoot up, or if it shoots down from here, it could literally just tank. But I don't know, we'll see how that goes. UCAD, same situation, it's just pretty much going back and forth. Consolidation between these two zones. USD CHF. It's at some strong resistance right here, but it looks like it's trying to break above it. So, you know, if you see a bullish move above here, then it might be a good buy. Possibly, I don't know. But it doesn't really look like there's any. It looks like the US dollar is actually gaining strength. So we'll have to see how that plays out by tomorrow, because we do have that news tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. That building permits number. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but it's going to have some sort of reaction to the market. Nothing for UJ. It's stuck in this area too. So, you know, just looking at all the pairs, there's not really much to take right now. There's we're looking at NC right here. Wait, actually, that's the wrong one. It was NC-CAD. Yeah, so we're looking at this one right here, but it's just a little risky to take. So let me see. TP1 probably halfway, 21 pips. I mean, it's doable, but it is Thursday, so you know, volatility's pretty much died down. GA, nothing there. Yeah, this actually looks good. The CAD JPY.
For still stop, yeah, I think we should call that one. I see the JPY pairs tanking before the market closed.
Yeah, so I'll call this for you guys. Let me round it to 33. So I'll just it'd probably have to be a sell limit. Price is below. Send it real quick. Damn, what's wrong with this thing? You know what's weird on my new Mac? That when I take a screenshot of it, it takes forever. I don't know why it takes so long. Oh, US 30 moved in, didn't close. Looks like it's trying again. Let's see if this came up. Man, what's going on with this? Yo, Aaron, is your trading view running slow?
I mean, not really, not that I know of.
My thing's not even saving. Oh, there we go.
1 second, let's see.
Just gonna put this here. It's gonna be a sell stop. Okay, JPY. Sell limit. Um, 33 pips. About 16. All right. Just mark this up. One hit plus 16 pips. Three. The alert set up. Good to go. Looks like it would have been, it was about to be filled if you guys are trying to take that trade. Let's see. CT said buys. Take a quick look at my US 30 above. US 30 on 1 hour with pivot and Elliott movement. Oh wow, yeah, it's at a support. It's at a support right here, so it looks like it could be shooting up. I mean, who knows? Let's see. So support is at on the 1 hour. So let me go to US 30. Try to see where that support's at. The support's actually really close. Yeah, that's something that I might have to incorporate into the back test too. I mean, I'll add that as an extra column, but I'll probably have it to see where, you know, price is near support or not. See how much this moved from. It's about 600 pips. So if it closes below it, I mean, who knows? Like prices closed below before, unless it keeps moving down. So if it keeps moving down right here, like it might just keep sliding its way down until it breaks below the that zone. I don't know. The thing with US 30 though is that I usually don't see it really respecting technicals. That's kind of why I don't even mark up the support resistance there, even though it kind of does help. Like if we had this marked up already, we could have caught this, or we could have seen it. I mean, it's always good to have extra confirmation, but we'll see how it plays out. Because just looking at the data from Asia session for the back test, it makes me want to take every trade, even if it has news during that time. Because this is crazy. Like like literally all the other sessions were not doing so well due to news. But with Asia session, there wasn't very much news, and it was hitting like so often. So I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I'm gonna try to finish this probably by the end of next week. You know, from January until now. So I'll probably just add another column here or something for, you know, what the overall trend was during that time, and also maybe I'll throw in some analysis with the SRs. So he said, I'm waiting for momentum in my direction. Yeah, I could just, yeah, literally, that's what I'm thinking too. It could slowly melt, like kind of what happened here. Like there was a huge like random drops, and then again right here, it was like slowly coming down, and then it kind of consolidated, and then it shot down. That's kind of what I see happening here too. It could slowly come down. But then the news tomorrow, I mean, it's hard to really base things off the news because we have the, it's not on here, but it's on TradingView. The news for US, EJ. the housing permit news. I don't know how much that's going to affect the market, but it is high impact, so it might affect US 30. I don't know if there's any. I'm pretty sure there's like real estate stocks that are in US 30, but I can't really pinpoint which ones. Because if that's the case, it might have a huge bullish move if it's good news. But here we go. We have that sell signal that keeps appearing right here. So if anything, I'll probably call it as an unofficial call, but I'm not going to take it just because. Because look at this right here. If we took this sell signal over here, we've been screwed too. It ended up shooting up how many pips? I mean, not that much. I don't know. The market this morning just moved really weird. Like I wasn't expecting this to happen and then this to happen right after. Honestly, I should just got out. We were in profit, 600 pips. It's all good. Can't win them all. Let's see. So we have no more questions in the Q&A. Looks like I went over every pair. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. Otherwise, I'm just going to analyze whatever comes up. I might call this if this ends up closing. So let me just put a short here. Yeah, I would just call this as an unofficial at your own risk trade because I'm not taking it. The only time I call official trades is if I'm taking the trade myself. But if they're unofficial, most of the time I'm not taking them. I might be taking them on my personal account, like my smaller account. But if they're not official, then I'm not taking them on my main accounts. Let's wait on that. So we got to sell on this one. Yeah. So if you guys are in this call that I made for KJPY, it pulled above entry, so you guys should be in the trade now. If you guys had that sell limit, I do anticipate it to come on down. And these Euro pairs are annoying. They're just literally bouncing around.
Bro, tell me about it. Damn.
We've been in these trades for a while. Euro USD is super annoying.
This Consolidating is crazy. This is summertime for you.
Yeah, man, but at least the market's moving. That's the main thing. I mean, it is consolidating, but it's still moving. So I'd rather have it move than not move at all. But it's just annoying because I'm not used to holding trades for this long, and I don't want to scalp because it's like scalping is kind of a double-edged sword too. If your stop loss is too tight, you get stopped out earlier than surely be getting stopped out.
You get stopped out every single time. Excuse me, every time.
Exactly. It'll stop you out, and then it'll shoot right in profit. And you're like, man, I should have had a wider stop loss. Suk said I just did on US 30. Suk, are you in did you take a buy or a sell? I'm assuming you took the opposite direction. You're scalping. I used to like scalping US 30, but it's just, it's not the same anymore. It's not the same how it's moving because it's literally just bouncing around. I was thinking if it's like in a hard downtrend like this, it'd be easy to just scalp off these the rejection points. I mean, that's what I used to do when it was like trending heavy, like right here. It's so easy to scalp these. Even these right here, but today I don't even know the direction. There we go. It's just gonna keep testing it until it doesn't have it. But so if we get a false signal right here, then I think yeah, if we get a false sell signal right here, the next buy signal should be good. But I mean, who knows? US 30 is always playing. There's never really a specific direction. See, there's news. Nancy Pelosi says coronavirus aid bill will cost, God damn, 1.3 trillion. See that, Aaron?
You said what?
There's your coronavirus aid bill that you're waiting for.
Hold on once. Hey, zoom in. Hold on, like 1 second. This is kind of. Oh, yeah, they're trying to extend that extra 600, but hey, we'll see. If they do, they do. If they don't, yeah, oh well.
Yeah.
Hey, Enrique's gonna be happy.
Enrique, is he in here?
Is he in here?
Oh, it was Enrique, yeah. Enrique said for what?
That new bill, the extra 600 for
Enrique's about to
unemployment.
Enrique's about to buy another 100K FTMO challenge. Oh man. Enrique's putting that money to good use.
Exactly. Bro, the market's just so, man, it's just starting to make me mad, bro.
Yeah, Enrique, I think that might be best to wait till August
Wow.
because man, the market is just too slow. It's just Josh said I'm still trying to figure out how to pay for FTMO. He was in that same boat with Sisu. Sisu ended up doing what did he do? He did a wire transfer
Wired.
because they wouldn't take his credit card for whatever reason. I
Yeah,
mean,
they
some people
denied
have
me
had that issue
like 5
too.
times, bro. My bank is strict. They denied me 5 times before I actually it went through.
Yeah, me too. I had to do it a couple times before they let me, but I ended up like telling them like, yo, like let it through, and then they did. Josh said, yeah, I'm about to open a Chase account for like for reals. Yeah, I think Chase should be good, Josh, because I use Chase and they took mine. I mean, they did that fraud check thing where I had to do it like 3 or 4 times, but then on the fifth time it went through. So I think you should be fine with Chase if that's the case. Bill said, what do you think about, what do you think, Zag? So silver. We think silver should see a double top on daily. Let's check it out. I don't really analyze silver, but I think it moves kind of similar to gold. Zag, there we go. On the daily, SR right here. It looks like it broke above that resistance already, but let me see. Let's mark this up. Oh, I see what he's looking at right here. Let me go on the this. SR1's below here. Let me see what it looks like on the weekly. So it looks like the weekly actually has a nice zone. So generally, if there's two zones that are, or this would be the one zone, I guess. So I would just mark this up here. So this would be considered like a full-on zone. So if I move back to the daily, yeah, that looks like a nice double top, Bill. I don't know if you've done that before, where you went on the higher time frames and used the SR to find the, the stronger zones. But that looks like a real nice double top. So I think if you would get a sell signal, so right here, it's obviously in a buy bias, but if you get a sell signal that indicates momentum swinging down, and you can take that pretty far down. The only problem is there's news, like what I was mentioning tomorrow. There's news in the morning for US, so I don't know how that's going to affect silver. It might affect it a little bit. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, but this actually looks really good. Maybe I should trade silver tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know how much this is going to move for the rest of the day though, because it would have to close below the zone for me to have some full confirmation. But look what happened here, Bill. Like for the first rejection up here, once it closed below the zone, it was a huge drop. So if we counted this from here and way down there, jeez, it's like 7,000 pips. I don't trade silver, so I don't know how many pips this is. But looking here, it looks like, oh no, actually not 7,000. It's like about 1,200 pips. It's a nice move. Oh, see, he said lots of real estate stocks and ETF and S&P. You're gonna hold that for 2 years. Dang, yeah. So yeah, if there's a lot of real estate stock in silver. Yeah, let's see how long this. Actually, this is a long. Now that I think, I forgot we were on the daily chart. I thought this was the. God damn, yeah, this is a long time. I thought we were on the 4 hour. We're on the daily. This is 191 days. It's a long time. Yeah, but it looks good, Bill. If you're looking at the daily, I mean, you're probably just gonna hold it for a long time, but it does look good. CC said metals are long in these times. Yeah, especially with the economy, you know, gold and silver are just going to keep going up. So unless you get extra confirmation or you get a sell signal, then I would take it. But I don't think there's going to be a sell signal here. You know, what might happen is it might come down slightly. See, the problem with this here is the pivots are lining up with the support here. So it might come down to the pivots and then it might reject off it for double confirmation of rejection from the pivots and the support, or, you know, this little zoned area. So it might shoot on up pretty strong. So I'd wait for some extra confirmation before, you know, making any moves on this. Let's see what else we got here. Bill said I just scalp for buys and sells. Yeah, if you're scalping, then that'd be cool if you're scalping that move, because there's a actually, I don't know. It could literally go either way because it's still within this zoned area. Let's see. CL's asking, I was just reading up on the FTMO website and wanted to know how the challenge is going for you and if you've been making money after you got the FTMO account, and if you get, yeah, FTMO is cool. I stopped using my 50K account because I'm trying to build 300K accounts, because this will go to your other question, if you can have multiple accounts. So FTMO lets you merge accounts, but if you're using a 50K account, they kind of what's called, they don't cap you, but you're not able to scale that anymore until they let you scale it, but it's not as much as if you had a 100K account. So I'm trying to run multiple 100K accounts so that I can merge them into one big account, so like a 300K account. And you know, obviously, if I'm focusing on those, I can't make any profits right now because I'm trying to grow those accounts and pass them all at the same time. So I'm taking a cut right now from trading like my smaller accounts, but for a longer term goal, because you know, once I have a bigger account on FTMO, you know, 1 month of profits off that big account is going to be equivalent to me trading the small account for like an entire year. So I'm looking at the long term goal right now. I'm not really taking profits for anything. I'm building 3 100K accounts, because you can merge 3 100K accounts to make that a 300K account. And then, you know, if you do the math, you know, if I have a 300K account and then I'm only, say, 5%, like I'm being very conservative and I'm only making 5%, that's a lot of fucking money. And then you what's it called? You divide that by or you multiply by 70%, because you take 70%, and then you get to keep a shitload of money. So that's why, like, I'm looking at the long-term goal here. You know, I could trade the 50K account like I'm already doing, and then if I'm only making 5%, that's 2,500. 2,500, like, you know, multiply that by 70%. I'm only making 1,700. That's not a lot of money. So the thing is, I'm waiting for uh, a bigger move. Yeah, Andrew said 5% is 0.5. Yeah, I think I did the calculations wrong on. So 300,000 times 0.5. So that's 15,000. And then if I multiply that by 70, I still keep 10,000 of that. So, you know, I'm making the exchange to trade, to go for the bigger goal. Because the thing is, if I don't pass the bigger accounts now, I'm gonna have to waste like another month to grow those accounts. So I'm focused on the bigger accounts right now rather than the small term goal, because you know, I prefer to have this monthly opposed to having, you know, like 1,500 or 3,000 a month. Because I realized that when I first did FTMO and I passed everything, I was doing max leverage. But the problem with max leveraging is if I have 2 bad back-to-back days, and especially how the market's moving right now, I could lose that entire account super quickly. So instead of risking, you know, 5% per trade, or 3 to 5%, I'm only risking 1% now. So technically, like with the 100K account, or no, so I'll use an example for the 50K account. If I'm only making about 1% a day, and then we'll say, you know, total 3% for a week. So 3% for a week, that's like 1,500 times 4. it's 6,000, and then you only take 70% of that. My take home is only 4,200. It's not worth my time to trade this because I could just trade my own account. So that's why I'm not really focused on that small account anymore. I'm focused on the bigger accounts because even the 100,000 account, if you multiply that by 3% for a week, and then you multiply it by 4, it's still 12,000, and I keep 70% of that, which is 8,400. So if I do that on my 100K and I grow the other two accounts, multiply that by 3, I could be making this monthly. So I'm taking a cut now to reach the longer term goal. Josh said, when you say 5%, you're taking daily. I'm confused with your question, Josh. Oh, okay, no, I got you. Yeah, no. So daily, I'm only. So when I first showed you guys the FTMO when I passed it, I was doing 5% a day, but that was when the market was like nice. You were hitting full TPs like every single day. But now with COVID and the elections getting closer, the US 30 just isn't moving how it used to. Like you can see here in February, it was moving really nice. Like it was easy to catch these moves. Like literally we could just catch moves back to back to back to back. But looking at the market now, you see, I think I marked up a couple. So I can't remember which ones we won, but this was a loss today, and yesterday was a win. So I think we had 2 wins this week. We had 1 pivot win and then 2 actual entries, and then we have 1 loss. So doing the math on those, that was like 1,500 times 3, I think, wins, and then today was like a minus 1,700, right? So we're down to like 2,800. So the thing is that there's just a lot more risk trading US 30 now, and that's why I'm not doing max margin. I'm not doing 5% anymore. I'm just doing 1% because the thing is I wouldn't mind making 100,000. I forgot what the total was. So 100,000 times 3% times 4. So 12,000. Fuck. Sorry guys, I did the math wrong. So yeah, 3,000 times 4 times 7. And I'm doing the math wrong somehow. 100,000 times 0.3 for a week times 4, 12,000. So 12,000 for the month. Oh, duh. Okay, so 8,400. So this is me trading conservatively, and this isn't bad for monthly just trading because I plan on growing this. So if I have this times 3, that'd be a lot nicer. And that's why I'm focused more on the 100K accounts right now. CT said yesterday was TP1. Yeah, yesterday was TP1. So that would count as like a 1.5 win. So I think that was 800 plus 1,500 plus, I can't remember, I think it was 1,500 too, and then today was minus 1,700. So technically you're only at about 2,100. And then if you multiply that by, yeah, because if you're trading on FTMO and you're doing 1%, it'd be $1 per pip. So we would have made this for the week. Multiply that by 4, it's 84. See, the thing is, it's not as easy to stack these up as it was a couple weeks ago. I mean, a couple months ago. Or no, actually, when did we start FTMO? Aaron, do you remember? It was last month, right? Or was it May?
Which one? When you started?
Yeah, when I started, like when I first told everybody about me passing FTMO and stuff. That was about like.
It was last month.
Yeah, I think it was early last month or late May, because I passed that, and then I was going like heavy on my lot sizes, but now I go pretty easy. So I mean, this is still pretty nice because you're not really risking anything. You're not risking your own funds. So the thing is, I trade this plus I trade my own personal account. So on my personal account, I trade at 0.01 on Hugo's way. So this plus my Hugo's way is probably it's probably like, I'm trying to think, it's probably like 1,000 a week. So you multiply that by 4,000, you know, that's 12,400 just with FTMO on the side, plus my personal, and then plus the FX. So it's not too bad. But I think once you're able to merge the accounts and have 3 accounts, this would be a lot more because you multiply by 3. You know, you'll go from 10,000 to 32,000 or 37,000 for a month. So that's the main goal. Hopefully by the end of the year, because the problem with FTMO is even though you pass everything, even once you're funded, you still have to trade for another month. So literally, you don't get paid for like 2-3 months. So that's why I'm putting my long-term goals in front of my short-term profits, because I'd rather just go and reach for the bigger account, so that instead of just me stacking 10,000 a month, I can do like 30-40,000 a month, and then it'll just pay off longer term. Yeah, Josh said a month and a half. Pretty much. Well, because the minimum that it would take for you to get funded would be 20 days, right? 20 days. And then on top of that, you have to trade for another month. So yeah, about 51 days. So literally you can't get your first, and this is a minimum too. The thing is, you're not always going to pass in the minimum days. So literally you have like 51 days minimum until you actually get a payout from FTMO. So you guys have to keep that in mind too, if you need the money, and if you're not able to chill for a good month and a half. But yeah, guys, I think that's it for the questions. Do you guys have any other questions? Otherwise, I mean, we might be getting off early today. I don't really see anything for us to really look at because the market's just slow since we're getting closer to the weekend. Man, look at all these US 30 alerts that I got. I'm probably gonna turn off the alerts because I don't think there's gonna be any entry. But just going back and looking at our active trades right now, I don't really see anything. Our Euro trades are still stuck, not really doing much. But yeah, guys, there isn't really much to, like, I would like to stay on if there's stuff to analyze, but there's not really much to look at. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm probably just going to go back and finish up the spreadsheet, because once I have this data, this is going to, maximize our probability when we take our US 30 trades, which, is everyone's favorite thing to do. So once we're able to, I'm able to get all this data, I'll share the data with you guys so you guys can make a decision whether you want to trade US session, Asia session, or European session. So at that point, we could hit the ground running once we start it again next week, if I could get this done by this weekend. It's not looking like it because we still have a couple months to cover, but probably by the week after, we'll have all the data. So you guys will know exactly, what to take, what to avoid, stuff like that. But yeah, guys, so I'm gonna get off right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to message me on Telegram. I'm free to answer your questions. Otherwise, it was a great live trading room, trading webinar. And thanks for showing up, guys. If you guys are new here, just remember I have this every week from Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to come through. I can analyze any charts for you, or we can go over any trading theories. Otherwise, guys, I'll talk to you guys later. See you guys later.